the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I will dwell in the house. 3 minutes, 15 seconds to the end. Non static silence. Then underneath it says, rest in peace. These people were alive. These heroes were alive as they were crashing into the ocean. And this government had the audacity to hide it up. Now, this is a story called Obviously a Major Malfunction by Dennis E. Powell from Tropic, the Miami, Florida Herald Sunday Magazine, 13 November 1988. Should have just been 88 pound. First came the bang, then silence, a story about a catastrophe and cover up. There was no moon early the morning of March 9, 1986, and at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, the breeze was ominous. A storm would arrive in a couple of days. It was building, and it added to the uneasiness the sailors already felt. They had been in port with their cargo, if that was the word, the 3 or 4 hours now. The skipper and the other guy he had been diving with that day, the astronaut, I wonder who that was, had gone off for debriefing with a Marine colonel. The only, the one who was over there now arguing with a security guard. Everyone felt, yes, spooky was indeed the word. Though the crew of the USS Preserver was accustomed to duty of this nature, this was somehow different. The gallows humor didn't have its biting edge, and it simply tailed off unanswered. It was the grimmest night in the business where grim nights are common. The 3 black plastic coated fabric bags were unloaded. Put first into a 30-gallon plastic garbage can, then into the back of an open bed U.S. Navy pickup truck. Can you guess what was in that bag? The colonel and the guard were still arguing. What if there was a wreck? Can you imagine? Those garbage cans go flying and popping open. The thought was unbearable. There are nightclubs up and down the beachfront highway, A1A, that links Cape Canaveral and Patrick Air Force Base 25 miles to the south. It was now well after midnight, Saturday night. The road was already heavily traveled, and at this hour, the standard of driving would not be high. Other words, there'd be idiots on the road, inebriated, driving impaired, because people just do not understand alcohol, drinking, and driving don't mix. Nor does drugs and alcohol mix. Yes, I am preaching. The pickup truck. Okay, let me get back. Too bad the colonel was unswayed. The risk had to be taken. The truck could be less conspicuous, less suspicious looking than a helicopter or more substantial military vehicle with the whole idea. The whole idea was to avoid the press. Yeah, you're about to find out why they wanted to avoid the press. And the local examiner. The pickup truck headed out for its 40-minute journey. Ay, ay, ay. Drivers on A1A that night and morning, Those who could still focus their eyes because they were impaired or driving when they were too tired, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Probably didn't much notice the Navy truck. Military vehicles are common in that part of Florida. Yes, they are. Nor could they have guessed that it carried something everyone in the country had speculated about at one time or another during the past 6 weeks. 6 weeks as in the space shuttle explosion. That's okay. On the truck, in the garbage cans, were bodies. I repeat, bodies of the 3 astronauts from the Space Shuttle Challenger. 3 astronauts were put in their bodies were placed, and pieces of their body was placed in garbage cans. This is how America treats its heroes, especially when they just put them in garbage bags. Would you want to be put in a garbage bag? I wouldn't want to be put in a garbage bag. You know, playing around as a kid, yeah, but, you know, when I die, I want a mint casket. I don't want to be put in a garbage bag or in a garbage can. That's a minor horror story, says Robert B. Hotz, H-O-T-Z, a member of the Presidential Commission that investigated the accident. There are some major horror stories about the way they tried to cover up the whole thing. There is a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of unanswered. I bet you there are still unanswered questions today, almost 27 years later. 27 years later. It's been 27 years. Can you believe that, people? It's been 27 years. I was 22 years old at the time. My first wife was pregnant with our first child, who will be 27 on June 26th. But be that as it may, 27 years. And this is how NASA treated and the government treated the heroes of the Space Shuttle Challenger. As much as I love Ronnie, and I admire Ronnie, he had some suck-ass people working for him. Suck-ass. Totally. They were hideous. You know, if they would have done this, if I was president, I'd chop them up and put them in garbage bags and then put them in a garbage can. Except I'd light the garbage can on fire. Let's listen to Challenger disaster, Reagan's TV address. This is where Ronnie shows how great of a president is. Obama couldn't do this if his life depended on it. Here's the late, great Ronald W. Reagan. Moment of crisis, Ronald Reagan, Challenger. Showing the space shuttle taking off, Challenger. Seconds after the launch, Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. They still say it, but yet it did not explode. All 7 astronauts were killed, but not right away, as you've seen. A picture of Ronnie watching this, his face is...
The Challenger was an accident. It wasn't an individual act of hatred. It wasn't an act of war. It was something that happened, but it was watched by millions of people, and it was watched by hundreds of thousands of children.
I was one of those school children that day where we gathered in the library to watch the Challenger.
come on. Don't start up, YouTube. It's hard dealing with YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Let's go, YouTube.
The Challenger was an accident.
Yes, the Challenger was an accident due to gross negligence.
It wasn't an individual act of hatred. It wasn't an act of war. It was something that happened, but it was watched by millions of people, and it was watched by hundreds of thousands of children.
I was one of those school children that day where we gathered in the library to watch the Challenger, and you know, you have that sense of
I swear this government has it in for me in this show. Or YouTube does. I'm giving them credit. What more do they want, my blood?